Welcome to the US Kiss Vinyl Reference YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, folks, welcome back to another installment of the US Kiss Vinyl Reference. I am your host, Mike Stone, the one and only. Okay, maybe not necessarily the only, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So today we were going to focus on all 4 solo albums, and I realized that would be just way too damn long of an episode. I live with myself 24 hours a day, and I don't know if I can handle myself talking that much, so I wouldn't want to put anybody else through it either. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff that encompasses all 4 solo albums, and then we're going to split off and talk about this guy, old Gene, Uncle Gene. We're going to just break it up into four different episodes. I may release them all the same day, but as far as doing it all in one episode, good Lord, that'd be probably 4 hours the way I've been tracking lately. So yeah, we'll talk about a couple of things that involve all 4 solo albums. Then we'll go off on Uncle Gene. We'll do his LPs, and then we got a couple of 45s to talk about. So grab your popcorn and whatever other little snacks that you may need. Get up and pee and do your thing, and then come back, sit down, and we'll get started. All right, folks, welcome back. And as I said before, we're going to start hitting on the solo albums. Today is going to be all about Uncle Gene. So, let's see, all 4 solo albums were released in September of 1978, the 18th to be exact. And all 4 released on the same day. They all shipped, 1.25 million copies each. So the record stores in 1978 were flooded with the solo albums. Didn't quite go as everybody planned. They thought it was just going to sell millions and millions of copies of all 4. Not so much. But anyway, getting kind of ahead of ourselves there. So going into the LPs, we're going to start off with some stuff that involves all 4 solo albums, and then we'll split off into Gene's solo album. So there is a sampler for the solo albums, which I'll show right here. So there was a best of solo albums that was released worldwide in some of the countries that didn't get solo albums, like Germany, Germany got one, but it was released overseas. The U.S. never got a copy of the best of the solo albums per se. This is basically our best of the solo albums. So this is a promotional sampler sent to radio stations. It has 2 songs from each member and just a plain bare bones jacket. So for your promo mark on the jacket, right there, loan for promotion only, not for sale, ownership and all rights reserved. And then get the vinyl out, and it has just a plain white inner sleeve with a label hole. So there is your promotional label. It's a Filmworks label, and notice off to the left under the catalog number, it says promotional copy, not for sale. And then you can see it's got the tracks sectioned out by each member. This is probably the most common of the samplers to find, and probably the least expensive of the samplers. They were really trying to push this solo album concept home, and they promoted the absolute hell out of it. There were all kinds of merchandise that featured the images of the solo albums. So if one were looking for these samplers, this one will probably be the first one you get because it's just pretty much readily available. But yeah, just a bare bones jacket, black. And I want to talk about something here. It's always kind of a little bit of a debate, and I mean it's nothing super important, but I mean a lot of it is, a lot of people think that the artist is Kiss and the title of the album is each guy's name. And on this sampler here, if you notice, assembled especially for radio from the Kiss albums. To me, the way that reads is that the artist is the individual person. The title is Kiss. So that's the way I take it. Also, if you look at the 45s, there is not a Kiss logo to be found anywhere on any of the 45s that were released for the album. So that's another part of the argument there, so to speak. So, but I'm done touching on that. So there's your sampler for the solo albums. And then I don't really do merchandise per se. I'm just a vinyl guy. I don't even do cassettes, 8-tracks, and all that. There's other guys out there that are miles ahead of me in that and do a lot better than I probably would. But there is one promotional item that I did manage to grab, and it's the only thing I was really interested in when I got back into collecting. So some stores, when you bought all 4 solo albums, they gave you a bag to carry them in. So not all stores had this, probably. I mean, I wasn't alive in 1978, so I can't tell you for sure. But yeah, this was just given out as a promotional item. Real easy to find. I mean, this shouldn't break the bank for anybody. And for those of you that are wondering why this is so stiff, I keep cardboard inside it to kind of keep it rigid. And I actually have it hanging up on the wall. I run a tack through the cardboard. So yeah, I just figured I'd show that. And then, well, I know I'm a U.S. vinyl page, but there is the best of solo albums that was never released in the U.S. So I went ahead and I wanted a copy, even though it wasn't a U.S. record. So I went with, there's several countries that released a version of the best of solo albums. I went with Germany. So we'll talk about the couple German issues that I have. So first up is the release from Bellephone. And it's a common misconception that every Kiss record released in Germany had a censored Kiss logo. And as you can see here, that Kiss logo is the Kiss logo that we all know. The censored Kiss logo wasn't really a thing until 1980. There were some albums that were released with a censored logo. Destroyer, Alive, Dress to Kill. Dynasty, I think. I mean, there were a few, but I mean, it wasn't a have to situation. So you can find pretty much the whole catalog up to Dynasty, I believe, in Germany with the regular Kiss logo. So this, as I said before, was released on Bellophone, as the corner says right there. And it gives you, well, the entire catalog right there. And you can see the ones that you can pick out, they have the regular Kiss logo. So, and then mine came to me with just this plain inner sleeve here. It's polyline, so I don't know how original that is. Um, for sure, if anybody's watching this that knows what kind of inner sleeve came in this, please let me know, and I'll do my best to try to get an original inner sleeve in this thing. So now we go to the Filmworks label, and there it is for all the world to see. I'm not super educated on non-US releases, but just so you could keep this straight, you know, notice that there is a Bellophone logo at the bottom. So that should keep it tied to this jacket here with the original Kiss logo on it. And then I have come to learn, and I'll be damned if I can recall off the top of my head, but there's a Paul track on here, Take Me Away, Together as One. There are some issues around the world that have a version of the song that does not fade out. If I'm recalling right, and I'm 99.9% sure I am, the German issues do not have that version. It's the one that fades out. So there's your first issue from Germany with the regular Kiss logo on it and a Bellophone Filmworks label. All right, we have another issue from Germany, and this is going to be more familiar to some folks. It has the censored logo, the backward Z's as they call it. And then there's a sticker here on the jacket. I barely speak English, so I'm not going to try to butcher what that says there. If I remember right, it's just like like in the U.S. we had like a Super Saver or Nice Price sticker. I want to say this is about equivalent to that. So the back of the jacket, we have the catalog again, and if I hold it in there, you can see that they've got censored logos. It does not include unmasked, but so, and from what I gather, not all have it, but mine has that PSI sticker there. I want to say, if I remember right, that's an importing company. That's how some of these got into the U.S. is through that PSI right there. And then there are a few different, there's a few changes to the track list. So this version has them all grouped together by artists, where this one had them just kind of scattered. But Take Me Away Together as One by Paul is not on this censored version, and I ain't going to go through all of them, but notably, Peter Criss has a song called Hooked on Rock and Roll, and all of these versions, all of these German versions with the censored logo that I've ever seen actually had it spelled out hawked on rock and roll. So I haven't seen a correct copy of this, a vintage copy. And it's not even on the first German issue. So then inside we have an inner sleeve with all of the titles from the series that hype sticker belongs to. It's not really a hype sticker. It's just kind of identifies a price series, so to speak. And then the vinyl. The one big thing to notice is at the bottom, there is no longer a Bellaphone logo. So, and then the catalog number also changed. So that's a little easy way to spot whether this is the right record for it, other than matching the track listing up to the jacket. But yeah, these weren't released in the U.S., and since it was an official title that was released, I wanted to get something to represent that title in my collection. That usually ends up being the non-U.S. stuff that I end up getting, is something that just wasn't released here in the U.S. And then I have a third copy from Germany, and this one is a lot more recent. So we got the censored logo still, and got the catalog on the back just like the other. Notice now that the Peter Criss song is actually spelled right, Hooked on Rock and Roll. And then I was trying to find the year that this was released. I want to say 2019, but I could be mistaken on that. We got a nice colored vinyl out of it, a white, and then it's got like a gray and a black splatter to it. And then there is our label. And it too has a different catalog number, but the colored vinyl is all you need to be able to distinguish. And then it had a silver hype sticker on the shrink wrap, which I peeled off and put with the inner sleeve that I use for the record here. And it came with just a plain black inner sleeve. So this was done by Universal Germany. Like I said, I want to say it was 2019, maybe 2018, but seemed like it was a little later. Yeah, it doesn't give a reissue date anywhere. So yeah, there's my 3 non-US solo album related records. And then in 2018, they reissued the solo albums as a set in a box. So here's the box. You can see that the members' images are kind of ghosted onto the box. And then we've got a foil Kiss logo here. And then also on the spine, that's all foil. And then, if I can get the box open. It's an empty box because I don't keep anything in my boxes. So, as far as goodies that came with this set, Come on now. There was a sticker with a UPC on the shrink wrap. I took it off and I put it on this bag that I keep all the extra stuff in. So first things first, they gave us a nice cloudy sheet of paper to protect the 4 lithographs. I can get these 2 separated. So you got Paul, Gene, Peter, and Ace. And then they gave us a solo album slip mat for your turntable. I used this for a little bit, and then I bought a rock and roll over one off of Kiss Online and retired this one, the solo album slip mat. So there's our goodies for it. And then I went ahead and got all the records out that came with the set. I know I said we was just going to talk about Gene today, but this set is all 4 of them together. They weren't available separate, so I'll show all 4 of them here. So there's the jacket for Gene. And this jacket is really rigid. It's made of a stronger material than the normal jacket was. Get all the goodies out. So all 4 of them came with this solo inner sleeve here. And this is the same inner sleeve that was in the 2014 editions. Matter of fact, it still gives a 2014 date down here, even though the box set was released in 2018. And then the 4 catalog numbers match up to the 2014 editions also. And then we've got the 4 interlocking posters that everybody knows. So there's Gene. And these posters are special made for this set. The catalog number matches the number on the record. So you have a 2014 set, and then you have a set from 2018. And then the record. So the label has changed from the 2014. It's got a new catalog number on it. And then, of course, there's the red colored vinyl there. And you might be able to see behind it a little bit in my face, but yeah, it's a little bit translucent. So there is Gene's album. Oh, I might be mistaken a little bit. Okay, the catalog number did not change on the label, and it did not change on the poster. I messed up. So this label has the same catalog number as the 2014. The text down at the bottom is a little different, and I'll put both of them up here side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. There is a difference in the label, enough of a difference for me to consider it a different solo album label. But yeah, the poster is the same as the 2014. So if any of you are in the middle of a heart attack right now because your posters are wrong, so to speak, take a Bayer aspirin and call 911 and just blame it on me. I apologize for that. So literally the only thing other than the color of the vinyl that changed between the 2014 and these is the jacket. So I apologize for any heart attacks that may ensue or people crapping their pants or whatever. My bad. All right, on to the next one. We have Paul here, and I'm not going to pull everything out because I kind of want to get to the albums. But we have Paul with a purple, and you can see that there's kind of some red and some other colors that are kind of marbled in there. It's not a solid color, and it's not translucent either. It's opaque. I mean, me personally, I think we probably could have went with a darker purple, but that's just one man's opinion. Now, one gripe that I did have about these box sets is that the records were not sealed inside. They were just the 4 jackets in there. So they was able to rub against each other. Some of them had some rash. I'm one of the lucky ones that got away unharmed, but yeah, the records didn't have any kind of shrink wrap on them, and that's one gripe that I had about it. So, if there's any future vinyl box set releases, Universal, shrink wrap your damn records, please. All right, next up is Ace, and you can see we got a blue record, not translucent. And again, I think we could have gone with a darker blue, and mine's got a couple of little spots where it's got some white marbled into it. It's not a solid color either. Ooh, come on now. There we go. And these were all mastered off of the same plates as the 2014, so there's no different mastering, so to speak, because they use the same plates to press the 2014 that they used for this. So the sound quality may differ a little bit, but I've listened to all 4 of these, and I think they all sound fine. So I think to a point, the colored vinyl sounding like crap is just a myth, but some people are dead set that it's true. All right, now Peter Criss. And one thing I will point out, that in this box set, Peter Criss only got a poster. There is no credit insert like the 2014 had and then the original issues. So if you come across one and yours doesn't have the credit insert, it's not supposed to be there. So Peter is on a green vinyl, also not translucent. I've got a couple of little specks of yellow in mine, marbled in, but for the most part it's a solid color. But I mean, technically it is kind of marbled. So, and I think they got the green right on this one, I think. But yeah, Paul and Ace, they could have messed with the color a little bit more. So that is our solo album box set. And then when this was available on Kiss Online, there were, I think, 300 that were made available in a bundle with some merchandise. I want to say like a coaster set and maybe a t-shirt or something. I just got the standalone set. I don't really care about the merch. All right, on to Gene. So Gene, I'm doing him first because there is a order on the catalog number in the U.S. So it goes Gene, Ace, Peter, Paul. So that's the order I'm going to do them in. Gene's is the first. Oddly enough, they didn't keep the same pattern with the 45s, but hey, you know, we got 45s. So as always, we're going to start off with the promotional copies, and Gene has a couple of variations that I'll show. So right out of the gate, this one is stamped here on the front. That's usually not how that happens, but there's your promotional text. Then there's your back of the album, has no other promotional text on it. All right, we got the solo album's inner sleeve. That's a constant throughout all 4 solo albums. I have noticed that some inner sleeves have 90-degree corners like this one, and some are rounded. What that correlates to, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you if I have one of each. I know I've seen them both, but all right, for the inserts. We start off with the merchandise order form, and you're going to notice this one is not folded, and it has no envelope. This is the right order form. So, you know, I've got pictures up here of both sides of the unfolded order form, and then I'll do pictures of the folded order form with the envelope. So it's not like somebody ripped the envelope off. This is how it came off of the press. So it's just a variation in order forms. And then the poster. And one thing I'm going to point out at this poster is look at Gene's chest. And I'll hold up images here. Notice on this poster right here, Gene has no lines for his pectoral muscles, you know, right here. And then you can see I've got a picture of one and a picture of the other. The other has the pectoral muscles. So there's variation on the posters. And now we get the vinyl out. And this is what we call a Gene Simmons label number 1. It's a Filmworks label with his mug plastered up above the spindle hole, making it a custom label. Notice off to the left, it says NBLP 7120 DJ. Promotional copy, not for sale. So there is your promotional label for Gene Simmons. Now, variations are on side 2. And what I'm going to point out is if you look at the credits under When You Wish Upon a Star, you will see that this is written by a guy named Ned Washington. So his name is spelled correctly. Also, if you look underneath Living in Sin, you will see that there is no publishing credit given for Kicker Rock Music. So that's, I'm pointing something out there. So there is one of your promotional copies for Gene. All right, on to the next promotional variation. This time we have a gold stamp on the back of the jacket. We'll have the same inserts. I will point out, I'll pull these inserts out because they were different from the last ones that I shown. So here we have the folded merchandise sheet with the envelope. And then the poster has Gene's pectoral muscles drawn in. So just to show that that wasn't something done in Photoshop. So now onto the vinyl, and I'm just going to come right out of the gate and go to side 2 here because that's where the variation is. So now, if you look at Living in Sin, there's still no publishing credit for Kicker Rock Music. And then if you move on down to When You Wish Upon a Star, you will now see that it was written by a guy named Med Washington. So his name is misspelled. Instead of Ned with an N, it is spelled with Med with an M, like Mike. So there is a little error there. All right, and then another promotional variation. This one is also stamped on the back. And with the vinyl, we're going to go straight to side 2 again. Now you're going to notice that there is a publishing credit under Living in Sin for Kicker Rock Music. Now, every copy that I've seen that lists Kicker Rock Music also has Ned Washington's name spelled correctly at the bottom under When You Wish Upon a Star. So this is probably the hardest variation to find of Gene's promo. It seemed to be for me, and then a couple others that ended up getting it as well. So if chasing down variations is something that you're into, there's another one to look for. And it's nothing super rare. I mean, they can be found. So there's no need in going out of your way and dropping, $1,000 or something on this, because it's not worth that. And I pulled that number out of my ass, just saying. Okay, on to retail copies. So retail copies have the same inner sleeve, the same inserts, so there's no need in showing that. I'll just pull the vinyl out. The vinyl, however, has the same variations that the promos have. So going straight to side 2 here, if you look under Living in Sin, there's no Kicker Rock credit. And then if you look at When You Wish Upon a Star, Ned Washington's name is spelled correctly. So there's that. All right, the next retail variation we'll go straight to side 2 here. Again, no Kicker Rock credit under Living in Sin, and under When You Wish Upon a Star, Ned Washington's name is misspelled. So there's another variation there. So I said it a couple episodes back, if you have a promo copy on a label, 9 chances out of 10 you can find a matching retail copy to that label. There's always exceptions to the rule, but most of the time that ends up being true. All right. And then we have a third retail copy. Going straight to side 2 here. So now if you look under Living in Sin, you'll see a Kicker Rock Music credit. And just like I said with the promo, every one that I've ever seen with that Kicker Rock credit, Ned Washington's name has been spelled correctly. So I've not come across a misspelled name with the Kicker Rock credit. All right. And then one more retail copy. And then we'll get into record clubs. So we got the same insert still, same inner sleeve. Now, when we look at the label, Gene's face is missing. And it's got a Sunset Boulevard address at the bottom. So this is a Filmworks 1 label. And then looking on side 2, there's a Kicker Rock credit, and then Ned Washington's name is spelled correctly. I've not seen any variation to this Filmworks 1 label. They've all been the same that I've seen. Not exactly an easy one to find, but it can be found. And then, as you'll see in future episodes, there's also Ace Frehley and a Peter Criss that have this label. So no Paul has been found yet. And this one I still consider to be a first issue. I have no less than 2 friends that have a copy that have the label has Gene's face on one side and it doesn't have his face on the other. I think they may have mismatched sets from one another. So I still consider that a first issue. Now, on to record clubs. So this will have the regular Gene Simmons label in it. Mine does not have a poster. As I've said before, with record clubs, I believe they could come with and without inserts, with or without, I should say. I have opened up sealed copies that didn't have any inserts, and I have friends who've opened up sealed copies that had inserts. So, I think it can be correct either way. So this is a CRC, and it was marked with the CRC sticker. That's the only way I know of that it came. Labels were not marked. I've not found any solo album jacket that has CRC printed on it. And then moving on, we have some picture discs. And yes, I did say discs as in plural. So they came in a die-cut jacket with a fairly sturdy plastic inner sleeve. It's not cheap like the Polygram reissues. The front is cut out to display the disc, and then this image is on the back part of that. Other than that, it looks pretty much the same as the album. Now, I will say with the album, if you notice where it says side 1 and side 2, that's all in white text. These picture disc jackets, side 2 is red text still. And for some reason, True Confessions is a different shade of red. So just a little anomaly there. And all the jackets I've seen have been like this. I haven't seen any variation. So I'm going to point out that on the spine, all of these jackets will say NBPIX and then either 7120 or as the catalog goes forward with each member's album. There are 2 different series to these picture discs. You have NBPIX and then you have NBLPP. Yes, there's 2 P's in that series. And I'll show you the NBPIX. I call it NBPix just to shorten it. If you kind of notice that image is a little dingy, kind of yellowed. And another thing to note is here at the bottom, it says in small white letters, sound quality may not be comparable to conventional editions. To my knowledge, there was a reissue set from Russia in like 2006. To my knowledge, the jacket does not have that text there. So if you're looking to complete a set of the vintage ones, just kind of keep your eye out for that text right there, and that should do you good. And then I'm going to grab my next picture disc. This is the NBLPP, and it looks the same as the other picture disc until I hold it up. So you can see that one is considerably wider than the other. And I'll put images up here on the screen too. And then another way to distinguish them is right down here where it gives all the, like the run out text. This will say NB Pix 7120. And then this one will say NBLP P 7120, which I'll fly up a picture here to show you. All right. Now we're getting to the polygram era. So we all know of the issues with the barcodes on the back starting in 1985. And if we've been following along, we know that there was a series right before that in 1983, 1984 that we call Filmworks 2. So one of the hallmarks of the Filmworks 2 is that printing plant number right there, that 501. Get it up closer. All right. A lot of them have just a plain Filmworks inner sleeve. And then there could be a UPC sticker on the back of the jacket. I have a friend, I've only seen one solo album that had a UPC sticker on it, and it happened to be Jeans. It belongs to a friend of mine. I do believe it's sealed. If not, it's at least still got the shrink wrap on it. And it's like here somewhere on the shrink wrap. It's somewhere in the middle. So it wasn't covering up that 501 like a lot of the other titles did. But I haven't seen the other three with a UPC sticker on it. Now, it doesn't have Gene's face on it, but if you notice down at the bottom, it says manufactured and marketed by Polygram Records Incorporated, 810 7th Avenue, New York, New York, 10019. Oddly enough, this one does not give a pressing plant number like other titles have. So, but it's got Polygram information down at the bottom. And then it's got that printing plant number on the back of the jacket. That's all you need for a complete Filmworks 2 series. And to me, it seemed like the solos were the toughest in that Filmworks 2 series. Most people are going to say that Peter Criss is the toughest of the four to get in the Filmworks 2 series. Oddly enough, that was the first Filmworks 2 LP that I got before any other title. So I can't share that sentiment, but I do remember a lot of people looking for it after I had it. So now, moving on to the Filmworks 3 series. So this has a printed UPC on the back. That's not a sticker. These ran from 1985 to 1990. Now, I'm throwing these dates out there Does that mean that Gene Simmons was pressed in 1985? No, it does not. The solo albums came a bit later than the rest. I say 1985 to 1990 because this belongs to the Filmworks 3 series, which ran from the debut album to Creatures of the Night. A lot of those records were pressed in 1985, from then to 1990. So I lump this in with that series. That does not mean that this record was pressed in 1985 for some of those revisionist history guys out there that don't need to be named. Sorry for the rant. Many of these came with these Sound Saver stickers on them. Those would have been on the shrink wrap. And then this looks similar to the Filmworks 2 label that I showed you. You know, no Gene's face. It's got the same polygram information. You will notice, however, right before it says manufactured, there's a 53 on there. So that is your pressing plant label or number. And they came with these cheap ass plastic inner sleeves that are just kind of a hindrance, though I want everything original that I possibly can get with a record, so I do hang on to them, even though I do not use them. They're just kind of a pain in the butt to get back in if you accidentally have to pull them out with a record. Sometimes I can get them in and then slide the record by them. All right, I got lucky on that one. And then I will show this, even though I don't have another to compare. So down here by the Polygram Records logo, some copies have a white 0501. This one should have had it. I can see an outline where it's kind of printed, but it just didn't get white. So someday I'll get one that has it, but I just wanted to point that out. And then the final reissue comes from Kisteria. And as I've said, there are titles with Kisteria that are exclusive to Kisteria, and then there are titles that can be bought in stores as well as in the box. This was available in stores, as were all the other solo albums. So they recreated the inner sleeve quite nicely, I might add. It's on a little bit sturdier stock than the old inner sleeves were. Recreated the poster, which I touched on earlier with the solo albums box set. It's the same poster. And then for the label, it's got the Mercury logo down at the bottom, so you don't get it confused with the vintage issue. And then I'll throw the two of them up together again, the 2014 and the 2018, just to show you that there's a little difference. And if you can remember back to my intro to this video, when I was introducing myself as Mike Stone, the one and only, and then I said maybe not the only. So I want you to look at the bottom here and tell me who you see as an executive engineer. I am not that Mike Stone. I've had several people message me wanting technical information about the recording of this album. I would not be born for another 3 years after this album was released. I'm not that guy. Also, funny enough, there was a guitar player for Queensryche. Also shares a name with me, Mike Stone. I have gotten many, many messages asking if I could sign stuff for them if they mail it to me, or if I could get the other guys in the band to sign stuff for them if they mail it to me, if I could get them free tickets to the shows when I come through town. I don't look nothing like the guy that played in Queensryche. He is clearly bald. I might have a lot of forehead here, but I still got hair. So I'm not the guy from Queensryche. I'm not the guy that worked on Gene's solo album. Like I said, Gene's solo album came out 3 years before I was born. I guess that makes me feel a little uneasy that I look a lot older than I am, but that's just how it is. All right, rant over. Now we will talk about the 45s. And just like the LPs, we will start off with the promos. So Gene had Radioactive and See You in Your Dreams. A and B side there. So the promo copy, note on the right-hand side there, it says promotional copy not for sale. And I want you to look at that font a little bit. You'll notice that the O's are kind of like a really tall oval shape. So there's your mono side. All right. And there's your stereo side. And like I said, just kind of keep that font in mind. Good Lord, my wife's got it like an oven in here. Getting kind of sweaty. I'll live through it though. I don't have far to go. All right. So we got another promo copy. On the surface, it looks the same. There's your mono side. And there's your stereo side. But now I want you to look at that promotional text up on the right, and you'll notice that those O's are more round. So there's a little bit of a variation there. It's kind of petty, I realize, but a variation is a variation. All right. On to stock copies. So this one says it's larger text, and kind of like other 45s that I've shown, you won't know it's larger until you hold two of them next to each other. So, I mean, that's about as good as I could show you as far as the text size, but I want to point you towards that time, the 254 on the right-hand side. This says that it's bold. And like I said, the only way you're really going to see this stuff is right next to each other. Oop. And I didn't show you the See You in Your Dream side. All right, the next one. Got out of order there. Next one also says larger text on it. And there it is. And if you look at it, the time on the right-hand side, you'll see that it's a thin 254 compared to the other. And I'll put pictures up where you could see these next to each other, because just seeing it with the naked eye, one at a time, you're not going to really be able to tell. Yeah, I can anyway. Usually I have to see them together. All right, and I have a third stock copy. This says that it's smaller text. So there's radioactive. And there's See You in Your Dreams. And I don't have anything noted on my ID label about the 254, but all three of them should be across your screen now. So there's all kinds of little differences there, the text size and then the time. That's the two things that I look at on this 45, is the size of the text and the time. So that should be able to, you should be able to spot those differences now. All right. And then for the final 45, we have a reissue from the singles box set, which comprised all of their singles from 74 to 82, the makeup period. And they got sleeves from around the world to recreate. So we got the sleeve from the UK, and it says Free Gene Simmons Mask inside up here on this little splash. And then down below here, it says limited edition and red EO active vinyl. So, and then here's the back of it. Now, one thing about the original issue from the UK is there was a different B-side, but they got the correct B-side listed on the back, because they wanted to use a US track list. So this 45 came with the insert. There's your mask. If one were so inclined, you could cut it out. Got your little holes for the band that goes around your head and for your eyes. But I mean, honestly, who does that? So there's your mask for Gene Simmons. Come on, man, get in there. There we go. All right. That took a little longer than I intended. And then the vinyl. There's your label. Move that over just a hair. All right, there's the radioactive side. And then we've got the See You in Your Dreams. And then notice that red vinyl is translucent. So that's that mimics the original issue from the UK. And that is the first installment of the solo albums. I will do an episode for each one subsequently. I appreciate you hanging in here this long, and we'll catch you on the next one.